What is up, everybody? Hi, Paul.
I yelled something so obscene when Teron Johnson intercepted that pass that it reminded me why Joe calls the games for us, because I just lost it, Mar.
Okay.
I was brother. I was yelling obscenities of joy. It was not my. I've had finer moments, maybe not prouder ones, but I had finer moments.
Oh yeah, absolutely. I mean, how could you not lose your mind over that game? Multiple things. We're gonna go over it all though tonight, guys. Hashtag Nation and Bills Mafia. Welcome to the Hashtag Sports presentation of the Buffalo Bills versus the Kansas City Chiefs post game. As always, you can find all of our socials: TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook, as well as all of our episodes. Go to iTunes and Spotify. We have a Patreon down below. Tonight's show is sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes. Brochure is in the description of this video and in association with DeanBlundell.com.
Mm-hmm.
Paul, did we just get your opening sentiments from the game? Like, it was, I gotta say, I don't want a large part of this broadcast to be about the refs, but in honor of them, I'm wearing these glasses because they saw nothing the whole game.
You know, they saw a lot in the first half. Right?
Yeah, for one team.
Well, and that was the thing, right? Because I knew what was going to happen. Everybody was going to freak out about all the penalties, right? Because there was a lot of them in the first half. And I went to Twitter and I said, guys, don't worry about it. All these penalties, just don't worry about it. It's going to be fine. And wouldn't you know it, what disappeared in the second half, right? Unless it was incredibly egregious. And even when it wasn't, still wasn't necessarily called. But hey, listen, Bills win. It's all right. I'm good with it. But I will say that I expected the Bills to kind of mollywop the Chiefs a little bit. And Steve Spagnuolo sure knows how to turn up the juice. Risky, right? But you had a bunch of young secondary guys. So I guess this is probably what you should have assumed was going to happen, right? Just a ton of pressure. Am I thinking wrong when you got a young secondary? We saw the Bills do the same thing, right?
Yeah, you have to do that. You have to try to cover it up. I love what Spagnuolo does over there. I mean, you're talking about a guy who has a history. He was the guy who was a defensive coordinator when the Giants beat the Patriots in their 17-0 season. Mm-hmm. So you got to give the guy credit for everything he dials up and everything he does. You know, it was interesting too because he didn't learn from the Gabe Davis touchdown because he decided to go one-on-one with Diggs, and that was just Allen. I don't think Allen 3 years ago recognizes that. Or maybe not 2 years ago. I'm just saying. Going on to it. We got everyone in the chat. Make sure you hit that like and that subscribe button. It lets YouTube know this is a good episode, which it will be a good episode. Paul, should I throw up the tweet that you wanted me to show everyone?
Oh, we could. Oh, if you want to get to that right now, I'm ready to fight someone. Let's go. Let's go.
There we go. That's an outrageous penalty. Obviously, Nick Wright tweeting out, if you guys can't see it, says that's an outrageous penalty, talking about the Kelsey push-off. And I decided just to tag that. So, but you were silent on the previous 10 on the Chiefs. Sit down, Nicholas.
That guy. That freaking guy.
And I want to go to this one real quick because I thought this was the funniest tweet. It was from the Bills guys. If you guys know Air Raid, the Bills guys. Mm-hmm. If that was Tom Brady, Chris Jones would be spending the next 10 to 15 years in prison. If you guys aren't following them and you're on Twitter, go follow the Bills guys. That was hysterical.
Yeah, there's some great Twitter handles out there, right? There's some great Twitter handles. They are one of many, right? Because there's a lot of great Bills content creators out there. So thank you for choosing us for Bills post game. Much appreciated. I do want to highlight Jamie Osgood's comment in the super chat. Thank you so much. Super chats are going to the Williams Syndrome Foundation. So thank you very much to Jamie for that. That is the hashtag charity this year. Says, let's go. Nice game. Weird officiating. That's an interesting way to sum that up, isn't it? To just call it weird officiating.
Weird. It was weird.
It was weird officiating.
Well, usually what happens is that when officiating is like that, you start to see all those non-calls. It usually means that they're going to do it on both sides. And I didn't, you knew it was going to come down to the trenches. We saw the Deion Dawkins hold on Clark when Allen was scrambling. That was an obvious hold. That was not called. The tripping was just blatantly obvious. The push off was kind of like a makeup call. So
the Kelsey push off call.
Yeah, the Kelsey push off call. The one touchdown
that was kind of weak.
The one touchdown the drive that they scored where they took the lead. I counted like 4 penalties that they didn't call at all on that whole drive, especially the long play, which was a obvious pick. Like you can't do that. You really can't do that. So I think your prediction, Paul, of the Bills should have really. I really think the Bills should have won by 20, and that's just not being a homer. I'm just saying that in that game, there were some things that were happening, especially when Kansas City had the ball, that nothing was being called. And why was every third down a defensive holding call? Like people were getting mad at Sear Neal and Elam and the guys that were holding and stuff like that. But there wasn't any defensive holding calls on Kansas City. Like, are they just that clean? Like, I don't understand what's going on.
Well, and Elliott agrees with you, right? Elliott says, we left 20 points on the board today, in my opinion, and could have played better. The best is yet to come versus the Chiefs, and that's when we officially mollywop them. Go Bills. Yeah, it's listen, this happened last time the Bills played Kansas City too, right? Hyper aggressive. But I always kind of attributed that because Kansas City's receivers were so fast. You had Tyreek, you do it. Hardman is very fast. So normally you have to be really physical to try and get those guys out of their route concepts early. I don't think this receiving group is really the same. But a lot of penalties, but listen, I'm willing to accept it, right? There was a point though where there were penalties on consecutive plays, in I think third down situations that gave a first down, and that's what hurts, right? And that's what hurts. And Sear Neal, your boy,
he had a rough game.
Had a rough game today. Had a rough game.
I mean, it's fine. I mean, it's McKenzie had a little bit more of a rough game.
Yeah. I mean, listen, what are you gonna do, right? What are you gonna do?
I mean, I
saw you knew what you were getting, right?
I saw your tweet, come on, Paul. I saw your tweet. Paul tweeted out. I don't have it right in front of me, but it was something to the fact of if you're taller than 5'6", you don't have to scale down to try to catch that touchdown that he dropped when he tripped over his own feet, right. Making an inference to Shakir. You know what I mean?
Absolutely right.
And absolutely I believe throughout he's going to get more reps because I really think that that just kind of solidified a lot of that for me. I think Shakir's going to get a lot more reps going forward after this.
Yeah, and that's something in the chat that you see. Daniel Ventura, Elliott again, same thing, right? They all agree with you. So let's talk about who, in my opinion, don't get me wrong, Teron Johnson sealed the game. Right.
Yes.
I'm sure a lot of people's fears were, oh my God, there's a minute and there's 64 seconds left. That's 3 times the amount of time they had and whatever. Listen, I know that there were a lot of people afraid of what was going to happen in 64 seconds. Right. And I get it. But Matt Milano was a man on a mission today. God, it was fun watching him play football today.
Milano. Well, Paul, we were coming up on the bye week, you know that, and as #Nation knows, the car gets back into play on the bye week.
Oh yeah,
for everybody. Yeah. Is the play of Milano? I wonder if you guys type a 1 in the chat if you guys want this to be an episode. Is the play of Milano making Tremaine Edmonds' contract further and further away? They play a nickel, so there's not really a true middle linebacker. So
right.
Yeah,
right.
I don't know. We got a lot of 1s and yeses in the chat. I'm scared.
Hey, listen, that's a big number, man.
I love Tremaine. Don't get me wrong.
Edmonds is a $100 million player. We've been saying it for months. It's a $100 million contract.
He is going to get the money that Warner gets.
He's still barely legal drinking age. What are you drinking, by the way?
Apple cider. For anyone who's watching.
Really?
No, Paul.
Very frothy apple cider.
It is very frothy. I've been drinking it all game too. So yeah, it's just thanks guys for the 1s in the chat. But like, I got to say that this defense, I love what Leslie Frazier was able to do against Mahomes. Obviously, putting he put the guys in position a lot of times, but you you can't determine whether or not there's going to be a hold. You can't determine what guy makes a play. I mean, Mahomes is Mahomes for a reason. Kelsey is Kelsey for a reason. I think it's a much different story in the second half, because what Frazier did was he had Milano spy, which took a guy out of coverage for Kelsey. But when Trey White is back, I would just put him on Kelsey the entire time and play 10 on 10. I wouldn't even care about the run. I wouldn't care about this and that. And speaking of the run, Paul, I mean, Devin Singletary, 17 for 85, which I thought he should have had at least 25, 27 carries tonight.
Buffalo certainly could have run the ball all day long. Here's the funny thing about that, right? Sometimes when you see 17 for 85, that's 5 yards a carry, right? His long was 14. So the math person in you, even if you're not good at math, you just know that means Devin Singletary. That's a true 5 yards a carry average. Like, that is a true average. So but Kansas City would have let Buffalo run the ball 45 times today if they wanted to. And Buffalo just wasn't going to take the bait.
No, they weren't. And I just want to, I mean, we could talk about the run. And Kansas City could have ran too. Edwards-Helaire was finding holes in there. And that's what teams were doing. That's what both defenses were destined to do. Snaps went to Singletary. Well, speaking of, Paul,
best he's looked all year.
I know, right? What you have to take into account is we've seen this story play out before, where but we've seen it more in the preseason. You know how guys sit for the final preseason game and then all of a sudden they're shipped off to a new team or they're cut or this and that. The NFL trade deadline is November 1st.
Yeah.
And that's going to be one of the episodes that we're going to go over. Obviously, still some McCaffrey talk going on. I heard that they want multiple firsts for McCaffrey, which is...
Yeah, I mean, come on.
Excuse me, sir. But the point is, you sat Moss for a reason.
Mm-hmm.
You know, in last year's regular season game, Moss played pretty well. Mm-hmm. He did. He didn't play awful. He played pretty well in the game last year. But you sit him, is that so he doesn't get hurt because you're thinking about moving him?
So I think you look at this game and say it's Devin or it's Cook, and that's just the way it's going to be. You know, that's really where, like, they gave Moss 5 games to separate himself from either of those two guys, and it's just not going to happen, right?
No.
Now, and you're right. A lot of times when a guy's about to be traded, you know, they play 5 snaps in the preseason game. Remember that one game right before Watkins got traded? He had like 7 targets in the first 2 drives, and then they pulled him. Like 6 to 7 or something ridiculous. And you're like, he's getting traded, right? But here's the thing about the trade market, right? Christian McCaffrey's obviously the name everybody's talking about, but Cam Akers is not playing for the Rams anymore. The word has come out that they will not dress him for the remainder of the season unless he's traded. He is likely done in LA. Yeah, because he wants out.
Oh,
he wants to play.
Okay.
He wants to play. Buffalo's obviously not where he would want to go, right? Because he's walking into a situation no better, but he's frustrated with playing time. So, you know, what are you going to do?
Well, Buffalo's definitely a place. I think the running back position is kind of like the defensive line in Buffalo, where you're not going to be asked to play a lot of snaps.
But that's the problem. He wants to play a lot of snaps.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
And that's also a player in Cam Akers who has been hurt more than healthy. Like, he's missed more games than he's played. And now he's demanding a trade for playing time. Like, I don't want that. That's fine. That can go to the Raiders. That can go to Miami. That can go to anywhere else. I don't want that in Buffalo.
I'm sorry. Did you say Akers or did you say CMC, who's played 15 games since 2019? I'm sorry.
Tomato. I'll tell you what, one's not $18 million.
I know. You know what, though? That's the thing that got me crazy about this whole CMC thing. And, you know, both of us cut up individual episodes about it. And the interesting thing about it is this. Allen's escalator goes in for next year. Miller goes up. Diggs goes up. All these guys go up, and you still have to sign a lot of your own.
Yeah.
So how are you going to do that with $12 million on the books? Now, obviously, they can push that to another year, and they can rework the numbers. But is CMC? You asked me a great question at the start of this. Do you remember what it was?
Nope. Mario, Dory the goldfish, man.
I know.
I have no help here.
Paul asked me, with CMC in this game today, is it any different? I mean, the production you got out of Singletary today, isn't that the production you want?
Yeah.
I mean, would he offer a greater threat in the passing game, CMC? Absolutely. However, in this game today, the Bills kind of shot themselves in the foot. They had some unfortunate penalties that weren't called, and unfortunate penalties that were called that extended drives for Kansas City. But overall, I don't think right now he offers you, you know what I mean? Singletary's in a contract here, obviously, but Singletary's not going to garner $12 million.
Right.
Maybe two for 12, maybe 2 for 12.
So I want to go back and look and see, because the Bills were 4 of 11 in third downs today. Very uncharacteristic, right?
Yeah, so are the
Super
Chiefs.
Uncharacteristic. It's the third downs were the death of the Bills today, because they've been outstanding on third downs. Outstanding this season on third downs. Yeah. And I think a player like Devin, those are because a lot of them were short yardage situations. So you think Devin's the player, right? And I think that's where they kind of are missing something, right? They're missing I don't know what it is, but today they were missing something, because those third and short situations, if Allen wasn't running the ball for a first down, they weren't going to get it.
No.
And that's a problem. You got to fix that. I don't know what it was, but Chiefs figured out something, and obviously you and I will find it when we watch the game again.
Yeah,
but
absolutely.
As of now, something was wrong on third downs and in those third and short situations, because they had plenty of them. And as soon as the ball was in Devin Singletary's hands on third down, it was not going to be a first down conversion. And you notice Cook wasn't out there for third and short.
No,
because
God, no.
Right, exactly. But that's what I mean. They're not going to trust him on a third and short scenario this early in the season against Kansas City. Devin's getting that snap.
No, even if it's a pass, Devin Singletary is going to be in there for pass pro. And like you said many times, the ride for the admission for the Josh Allen ride is very high. They got to know that you're going to be able to pick up who you need to pick up.
But Bills fan 21 brings up a great point. Says it'd be nice to know. It would be nice if we had a true power back. That's what Moss was supposed to be. Do you really think that's what Moss was supposed to be for them?
I think he was supposed to be a change of pace type of guy, because remember, Singletary and Moss were both drafted when Dable was here.
Right.
Maybe that's not the thing. That's not the direction Dorsey wants to go. Maybe he wasn't a fan of Moss. Maybe he wants to open up the offense a little bit more. We got another one.
I'll take care of it. I got it.
All right.
I got you, boo.
You're cool. Oh, DF. Thank you, sir. Appreciate that. Big ups to the mods in here for,
love these guys.
Getting the spam guys out of here.
Doing God's work. Which reminds me, 128 people watching, I think, ish. 47 likes. So make sure you hit that like button. And subscribe if you haven't yet. Hey, 4,000 subscribers, Mar.
4,000. Big ups to Joe. Woo! I want to give big ups to Joe as well, doing the play-by-play. He was awesome. We finally hit 4,000 yards. Subscribers. Rick was talking about it at the beginning of the show before you got here. He said hopefully we'll hit 5K before the end of the season. I think Allen will hit 5K before we do. 100%.
That's okay.
That's all right.
That's acceptable.
I'm not spamming the chat, Paul Berg. I'm not spamming the chat. I would never do that. As far as Moss is concerned, I think he definitely offers you a little bit of trade bait. He's a guy that you can probably move at the trade deadline if you wanted to just go with Singletary and Cook. Neither one of those guys is going to garner enough carries throughout the season to, you're going to run out of juice with either one of them. Chet the Bee comes in and says, I'm a Spencer Brown fan, but when he went out, it seemed like Allen wasn't pressured as much. No, but the thing was, you didn't see much. I didn't see Allen getting pressured too much off the right side when he did go out.
Right.
The only play where I saw Quisenberry had some trouble was when Allen got tripped by Jones.
Yeah.
That was it. You didn't.
Yeah.
And that's the genius, if I could say, of Brandon Beane and getting those guys. But then again, also, we have to give a little kudos to the fact that Buffalo is now a destination for a lot of guys to go. A lot of guys. You ask anybody on the Bears if they want to come to the Bills. It's.
Oh yeah, they'd be like, I'll Uber.
Yeah.
You need to catch an Uber? I'll be there.
Buffalo Mafia. He says, Mario, where's the Undertaker outfit? If you guys are not privy to that information, last year when the Buffalo Bills beat the Chiefs, I donned a black suit with a black fedora, saying that we were at the funeral for the Chiefs, and I spoke too early.
That aged well.
That it aged until January. But you start to look at it like this. They flashed a stat near the end of the game that really bothered me. It said Allen has one fourth quarter comeback in his career, and that was
God.
But here's the problem that I have with that. Obviously, everyone in here can point to last year's Chiefs game. He left the field with the lead. Do you remember the Hail Murray play?
Yeah.
He threw a touchdown to Diggs.
Mm-hmm.
Right on the drive right before that.
I know.
So
I know.
How are you doing these statistics?
It's a non-stat, right? That's a non-thing. So I messaged Joe during the game, something that I thought was really interesting. Because again, Kansas City had Buffalo's number. Let's give Kansas City all the credit here because
Absolutely.
one, you took probably the most powerful offense in the entire NFL, and you held them to 24 points. Kudos. Right?
Yeah,
congratulations. Yeah. But the Chiefs had figured out early that Reggie Gilliam is like a big part of those first 3 drives, right? And he was again later in the game, but they actually had a big yellow sign that had RG on it, and they would hold it up whenever Gilliam was on the field. I don't know what they knew, but they knew something. I don't know what. But they thought they had figured out something to where they had identified Gilliam as a player that they needed to keep a personnel package signed for. Isn't that weird?
I mean, he definitely offers a different type of. I want to say this, okay? He offers something different to the Buffalo Bills offense when he's on the field because you don't know if they're going to run power or he's going to slip out and just kind of be sneaky out there and go out in the flat or something like that, because he is a guy who can catch passes. Has proven he catches passes. He used to be a tight end, for crying out loud, and now he's a fullback. So maybe they diagnose something where Reggie Gilliam's on there, where if he's on the field, maybe they diagnose that he's not very good in pass pro. So if he's not, if he's maybe they're going to send 5 if he's on the field because they know he's going to go out in the pattern. Maybe they diagnose that when he's on the field, and it's a pass play, he's out in the pattern like 90% of the time. So they're going to send 5 to force Allen to throw it to him, or he's the least biggest threat out there. So if you have Knox, you have Gilliam, and you have Davis and Diggs, who's the guy that you're going to want him to throw the ball to?
And if you're really looking at it, right, Gilliam and Knox's stat line is not all that much different, right? Knox was 3 of 3 for 37. Yeah, he did have that phenomenal touchdown. What a dime. What a dime. The window on every touchdown that Allen threw today was so small, right?
But he's inaccurate, though. What are we talking about here?
Sure.
Yeah, what are we talking about here?
Mario, every single one of those touchdown passes the window was this big,
I know, and it was great. He put it exactly where he needed to put it. You know what though? I am upset at both of us, honestly, because prior to this game, we talked a lot about, at least I did. I talked about what Joy Taylor said about Allen and Mahomes, and we happen to always focus on Allen and Mahomes, like the national media does anyway.
Yeah.
However, Stephon Diggs, I had mentioned it in the video that I cut yesterday, went 3 for 7 in that playoff game. I think he was probably the most motivated player on the field today.
Yeah. 10 for 148.
I think he wanted to erase that, because then what happens when you go to the playoffs and you happen to play Kansas City and you're sitting there and you're going, hey, the last 2 times you've played them, they've shut you down. Like, he doesn't have to answer that now. Now he's proven. Now Spagnuolo's got to be like, uh-oh, what am I going to do? But the thing that we talked about at the beginning of the year is coming prevalent. He going out of the slot is a different animal.
Totally. That's something that I was shocked to see the first week of the season, right? I was like, oh man, that makes so much sense, right? You struggle with perimeter talent on this team, a perimeter talent that is going to pull coverage away from Diggs, right? So what's the best way to pull coverage away from Diggs? Make them play nickel against you, right? Make them play nickel against you, because now you'll be able to more comfortably run the football. Diggs is going to be able to use his eyes and feel his way through. You're basically saying Dawson Knox doesn't have to find soft zones anymore, right? You're going to let Diggs do
Yeah.
that. And he's putting out a master class in that right now.
He
And
is.
as a player, it is hard to watch a player like Julio Jones age. It is hard to watch, Larry Fitzgerald, aged incredibly well because they moved him to the slot at one point in his career and said, listen, this is going to be best for you, right? Diggs isn't at a point where he physically needs to do that yet, but
No.
I think he shows you that just being, if you can read the defense and have the chemistry with the quarterback, you can play anywhere. There is no X receiver. There is no Y receiver.
No.
It is just Diggs being open. That's it.
Yeah.
He just gets open.
Eventually in his career, he will reach that age where he is probably going to be more of an Emmanuel Sanders type. But Emmanuel Sanders, he's played the slot before, but Diggs is a different animal.
Yeah.
Diggs can extend his career by 2 or 3 years just by proving to everybody else he can play the slot. And it's amazing to watch. It is because it makes everything so much easier for Allen, where Allen can just be an athlete now.
Well, and
you're putting a linebacker on him? Hen Dog put it in the chat. He's like, Diggs on a linebacker. Chef's kiss.
I also want you to think about this, Mar, right? So if you're Diggs, right, how many times are you running your routes for Josh Allen 35 yards down the field? Often.
Let the rookie do that.
That's right. So now you put Diggs in the slot, and on a play where Diggs isn't targeted, he's only running, he's only running an 8-yard route and across the field, right? As opposed to running a 35 yards, a 35-yard, a 35-yard post or just scrambling around. Like, you're using his ability in the best way possible, and he's probably more fresh longer in the game while playing the slot.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. Yeah, I think, and then you got Davis, who is that deep threat now. Like, Davis isn't a burner, but he gets open. He is well, obviously coming into camp a little bit bigger than he was last year, but he is able to separate from other guys just by body and position, kind of like a Julio early in his career. He's not as fast, obviously,
no,
but absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah,
I mean, you're right. He does extend his career. I mean, one of the things that we talked about when Von Miller signed, obviously he got paid a lot of money to come here. But the thing about it is he saw that the defensive rotations, how the defensive rotations were. I'm expecting that number to be a lot higher this week. But the point is, if every 5 games you have to play maybe like 70% of the snaps. I mean, this is a guy that played 95% of the snaps wherever he went prior to going to LA. And it's like, hey, I can extend my career for 3 or 4 years if I do that. That's absolutely amazing. So Davis's hands make up for the speed. Jessica Tennis comes in. Yeah, 100%. I mean, you saw him catch that ball in the end zone. It looked like he caught a little weird though, didn't it? It looked, well, that's what happens when you catch the ball through. He's like this sometimes. I'm like, what are you doing?
Yep. But, Gabe Davis, all he does is get first downs and touchdowns, man. Only 3 receptions today on 6 targets. But again, big.
Oh, huge.
Big.
Somebody put in the chat, I can't remember what it was if I scroll up a little bit. What was it? We said we had to talk about McKenzie. We touched on him a little bit earlier in the game. Smash the like button.
I am you know what? I'm 40 years old now, and I'm drinking coffee, which I probably shouldn't do at 8:30.
At 8:40? What is wrong with you?
Live life on the edge, Mar. Live life on the edge.
I can't with you half the time. The other
drive
half
fast,
time.
take chances.
You're not first, you're last. Prestige worldwide. No, and McKenzie, he struggled a little bit today. I don't know if it was coming off a concussion or anything else that was going on.
I think in the back today, though. In the back of your mind, if you're McKenzie, you saw Shakir last week. Don't you just press maybe just a little, right?
I think
just a little.
Yeah.
McKenzie's never been at the top of the totem pole. He's never been at the top of the totem pole. He was always behind Beasley here, or always behind whoever else Buffalo had in the slot. Like, he was never the guy. And this year he walks in kind of being the guy, and then Shakir puts up the week that he did last week. And, your rear view, that car's a lot closer to you than you thought.
Exactly. And that's the way that McDermott and Bean like it. Except for the guys There are certain guys that don't have to worry about their job, obviously. But if you're one of those guys like McKenzie, guy was a free agent. They kept their eye on him. They ended up picking him up. He ended up wanting to stay in Buffalo because he thought this would be a great chance for him to, with Diggs and Davis, he knew he would have a lot of one-on-one opportunities, maybe fill that Beasley role. But it's the injury and the performance of their 5th round pick that they got is slowly, like you said, closing that window on him. So, I mean, it was amazing how much heat you took for even saying that McKenzie wouldn't even make the roster because Shakir was here. I mean, I'm not saying everyone needs to issue you an apology, but we don't do that. We don't do that here. It's just we just throw out our ideas. You guys like them, you like them. If you don't, we'll listen. We'll listen to constructive feedback for y'all. But everyone in the chat is saying more Shakir, less McKenzie because he just offers you a different thing there. Like I can imagine somewhere down the line, 3 or 4 games, Shakir's going to have like a drop or have like a subpar game, and then people are going to be like, yeah, we were wrong, put McKenzie back in. It's just the way that it works, and it's fine.
Well, let's I do want to mention one thing about 3rd down that I think again is a McDermott thing, right? So they run that wide sweep with Singletary. My heart stops. Why does my heart stop? Because they ran a wide sweep with Devin Singletary, Mario.
Number one, he can't catch the edge or the ball gets dropped.
Yeah.
Which way? Which one?
Yeah. No, he can't catch the edge. Right.
Okay.
And it comes up 3rd and inches or 4th and inches, right? Like right there. But that's why you got Cook, was for that. But they clearly don't trust Cook's vision, and you're not going to do it. You're not going to give Moss that carry. Right. So they call a wide sweep with Singletary.
I like it.
That's where I thought to myself, Ken Dorsey, that's not a wise call, right? Like it worked out. It worked out. It was something that the Bills wouldn't have normally run, but the personnel was like, okay, that might not work out next time, right?
Well, no, here's the deal. Here's the deal. If you get and Daniel Ventura says, why didn't James Cook get that snap? I'm going to explain it to you right now. It could have been a little bit of Dorsey outthinking himself. I don't doubt that at all. Number one. Number two, Singletary is a pounder. He's been the guy that he's been running prior to that play. He's been banging the ball inside all the time, and it's a short yardage play. So they think it's going to go inside. So they're saying, okay, why don't we sweep it wide? They won't expect it. They're going to jam everything up the middle and try to shoot the gaps. We can maybe get the edge with Singletary. It'd be a great play. I think they overthought it. I think Dorsey overthought it. Say, if I have Cook in the game, they know we're going outside.
Maybe.
If I have Singletary in the game, they might not. They may think we're going to pound it inside or do something with Josh, and he pitches it. And if that play goes for like 15, we're not having this discussion.
Sure, maybe, right? But I think Thomas Hillebrand says wide sweep with McKenzie there instead. You remember last year we
haven't had a jet sweep with him.
We haven't had a jet sweep all season. We haven't had a jet sweep all season with McKenzie, right? And that used to be a major focus the previous 2 seasons with him. Was that's how you got the ball in his hands, and Bills haven't run it at all. So if you're going to dust off one for good old times, that's like one you dust off for good old times. But I think McKenzie's game so far to that point that you're blocking that out. You're like, yeah, not today, man. Not today.
Oh, yeah. I think once Cook gets more experience and he's in there, and maybe this is one of those things, like if the Buffalo Bills are blowing out another team, that's what you put on tape.
Right.
So you try to sit there and, okay, let's see what this kid can do on 3rd down. Can he do pass pro? Okay, that's 1. Check. Can he go outside? Can you run inside the tackles? Check. So you provide that little bit of doubt in the defense's mind that, like, okay, this is what we don't know what they're going to do. They have an opportunity to do a bunch of different things. You said it early in the game when they were playing against the Rams. They did the same play out of like 4 or 5 different formations.
Yeah. And
it was the same exact play.
Yep.
And it worked. So when you go up to the line and you're in a different formation, like, what are they going to run? Are they going to run this? Are they going to run that? But for Paul Berg in the chat, I'll be your Huckleberry.
Oh, yeah. Don't start quoting Tombstone. We'll be here all night, folks. We'll be here all night.
163 watching, 7 more to get to 100. I love that. Let's do that. That's awesome, guys. Thank you so
I guess,
much.
Mark, this begs the question, where do you go from here, right? Because the Packers look terrible.
They do.
Packers
They
look
do.
terrible.
Bills are on a bye. They get guys to get rested. So
yep, you're walking into the bye week. Relatively healthy, right? We obviously are not sure Spencer Brown, right? You don't know what that looks like.
What's the worst kind of injury right there? High ankle sprain? That's the worst.
Yeah.
Because that takes forever.
Yeah, those don't go away. No. Those don't go away. So where do you go from here, right? You got the Packers, right? You got a couple division games. So is there a point where you get too high too early?
What do you mean as far as that?
Is there there's a point where you hit part of your schedule where every team plateaus. Buffalo did it last year, right? Where you plateau and then you have to recover, right?
Is this a couple more games?
Do you risk that this is the plateau going in the next couple weeks? The reason I say that is because Allen threw some really tight passes today that paid off, but not every game goes like that. Right?
No, they don't. Absolutely.
Right. Not every game goes like that. And Kansas City said this is how you keep Buffalo in check. Kansas City gave the league a lot to think about today. Because that defense, I don't believe, is very good.
No, I don't think it's very good, but it's not. Sometimes it's not the wand, it's the magician. You know what I mean?
Ooh, I don't know if I've ever heard that one.
Oh, you ever heard that one? Oh, stick around.
I
got you, kid. You're right. No, but I want to get to Sonny Lamont really quick.
Sure.
Hello from Alaska. Vaughn is our closer. He had just such an impact on the Johnson INT as Tehran. He put the pressure on Mahomes' defense, closed it for us.
Sonny must love these 4:00 games, man.
I know, right?
I don't wake up at some ungodly hour to watch football games.
I will say this. You know what? Some small part of me, the coach in me, Paul, as you know, you've watched games with me before. The coach in me goes, Allen, here's how my mind works. Okay. Mm-hmm. Just so everyone else in Hashtag Nation is kind of worried about this. I think Paul is too. The Bills got the ball at 9:20 left or 9:30 left. And I'm saying, okay, they have to try to milk enough clock to where they score maybe under 2 minutes. Mm-hmm. So they can run the ball. They can do a bunch of different things. They can do this, that, and the third. And then the tripping thing happened on 3rd and 10. And you're like, oh, son of a biscuit. And then they punt. And then they force Kansas City into a 3-and-out with the Miller sack. Then they get the ball back with 5:30. And I'm sitting there going, this is actually worked out beautifully for them. Mm-hmm. You have your 2-minute package. You have your 4-minute package. You have your 6-minute package. Run your 4-minute package. See if you can get in the end zone. And what happened? They score with a minute left.
Right.
And they put the pressure squarely on. Imagine if it was 5 minutes left. Does that game turn out differently if Mahomes gets the ball with 5 minutes left down 4? You know what I mean?
Right.
So it's so interesting that kind of worked out for Buffalo in that respect. And I don't know if too many people are going to be talking about that, but they got the ball with 9 minutes left, and then they got it back with 5. And it just worked out perfectly for them, and I loved it.
Well, I think the difference between this Buffalo team and last year's Buffalo team is this Buffalo team can possess the ball, right? That was something they really, really, really struggled with last year was longer possessions, right? This Buffalo team can wear a clock down if they choose that they want to. They can have longer drives. And Buffalo last year was not capable of doing that, right? This Buffalo team can really wear you down. They could, if you want to play a game of grind it out, Buffalo will grind it out. And I think there's no better example of that than the fourth quarter of this game. They looked at it and said, this is the drive. This is our chance. We got to take our time, and take our time turned into 12 plays for 76 yards in 4.5 minutes off the clock, which was massive, right?
It was great.
Massive.
And I think having a quarterback call the shots up in the booth is huge. That's why your previous point, you talked about the Buffalo Bills plateauing. Let's see if I can get to that for a second. I think what they do during the bye week is they do a little bit of self-reflection. I think Dorsey should have Allen in this offense. Not change things up too drastically, but know that teams do plateau, and defenses tend to figure you out a little bit. So if you're going here, there, and everywhere, and you're trying to think, okay, what are our tendencies at the break so far? So teams can't use that against us. So what you want to do is you want to try to implement certain other things to your offense that give teams so many things to plan for that they don't know what's coming. So you don't plateau. You try to avoid that. So I think what happened before was this is the development also of Josh Allen that as he progresses through the offense and he's able to read things faster, he's able to use his athleticism. This is what happens. So they could plateau in a game here and there, and Allen can pull him out of it because of his experience. And that's what you pay $258 million for.
Sure.
So I think that's one of the things that if I was Dorsey, I would be doing that at the break. Right now, so you avoid that.
Yeah, and I agree. I think that makes a lot of sense. Hey, DF Forever, thank you for shows, the fun, the smiles. You guys rock.
Wyatt, I am rolling.
Yeah.
Look, Dolan, Johnny Ringo, the deadliest pistolet this side.
See, that's what I mean, guys. We'll be here all night. Which reminds me, for those of you who are members on our Patreon, don't forget to put message us your address on Patreon, or you can email it to us at htagsports@gmail.com. We will mail you one of these fine hashtag shirts. Look at this. Look at this little logo. Nice little shirt. I enjoy that.
It is comfy as hell, guy.
It is. It's super comfy. It's a super comfy shirt.
You think, Dolan? Should I hate him? No, I'm
so what? So now that the KC game is over, and of course you're going to have people out there saying, well, it's only a regular season game, which is the most frustrating thing, right? When people are screaming about how Buffalo didn't have a chance in this game and then saying, well, it's only a regular season game.
Hashtag Nick Wright.
Well, yeah, and one of many, right? One of many.
No, I understand that. But, Paul, we can't be hypocrites here. I tweeted out this morning. I said, if Buffalo's going into this game 3-1 in the conference, Kansas City's 2-1. If the Buffalo Bills win, they move one step closer to home field advantage.
That's right.
That's all I said. Buffalo currently has the best conference record right now. Okay?
Yep.
And the teams that are closest to them, I just wanted to let everybody know, the Jets are 3-2 in the conference, or the Dolphins. The Ravens are 3-2. I'm just listing the teams, guys. I'm not saying these guys are going to overtake. Tennessee's 2-1. Colts are 3-2-1. The Chargers are 3-2 in the conference. Kansas City dropped to 2-2 in the conference. So just to keep an eye on that. That is the thing. That's what I took from this game. Was that it wasn't revenge for the playoff game. You didn't win a playoff game. You won a regular season game. This is just as equivalent if you beat up on the Steelers as you did last week, or if you beat the Texans. It's an AFC conference game. But it is huge because you beat the team that was the second highest in scoring in the NFL, and you beat your nemesis in their house. So I can understand that it's not just another game, but logistically speaking, the Buffalo Bills are now 4-1 in the conference, and that is the biggest takeaway from this week that I'm going to take.
That's right. Yeah, that's right. And it's just one of those things where the season is far from over. Right?
Oh yeah,
it's far from over. But Kansas City is a very good football team, but I think everybody can agree they are solely running off the fumes of whatever Travis Kelsey is running right now. That team is solely based off of Travis Kelsey.
Oh my God.
If Kelsey goes down, that team is in huge trouble. Don't get me wrong. I like Juju Smith-Schuster a lot, right? But he's the definition of a possession receiver. This team is doing everything they can with smoke and mirrors to try and generate yardage. And there's a point where that's going to run out because you can't keep throwing to Travis Kelsey 15 times a game, right? Like I know the guy hasn't missed a game since 2013. But that's the problem. The guy hasn't missed a game since 2013. Like, time tells you 15 targets a game is going to do that. It's
yeah. I mean, but the thing, that's not even the biggest threat on their team right now. For me, I mean, I know it's going to sound really weird, really, really weird, but I love Kelsey, best tight end in the game. Not taking anything away from that guy. Someone put in there, he is a cheat code. He takes a bunch of hits. He is that offense. But they have effectively replaced Hill. That running back Pacheco, what was his name?
Yeah.
That guy he scares the living daylights out of me.
Yeah.
That guy
Rutgers,
is a power back that can run away from you.
Rutgers.
I know, Rutgers, 7th round, I think.
Shocked. I am shocked Belichick didn't draft him.
But the thing,
that's the only way guys get in the NFL from Rutgers is Belichick drafts.
Oh, yeah. But the thing is, given that guy to Reed,
yeah.
I mean, even if Kelsey goes out, I know Reed and Bieniemy will figure it out.
Right.
And that's what scares me the most. You got Reed, Bieniemy, and Spagnuolo there. Very few games you're going to get out coached. They got outplayed today. I don't think they got out coached. I think they got outplayed. I think Buffalo, to a man, said we are not going to either get out hit or outplayed. and the refs tilted the tide of that game a little bit. But overall, they outplayed the Kansas City Chiefs today. It just seems like they wanted it a little bit more.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
I agree. And again, both teams absolute dog shit on third down.
They were. Well, when your average is 3rd and 7, I mean, we talk about being behind schedule all the time. That's it.
Right.
That's what exactly what it was.
Yep. But Buffalo was not going to let Kansas City run the football today, right? They did a great job of running very even concepts. And that's why when a player like Mahomes has time, and you might get frustrated because you see Juju get open, you see Kelsey get open. In those zone concepts, those longer plays, not getting to the quarterback, those gaps happen, right? Like those gaps are going to happen with zone-based concepts. The longer the play is, often the worse it really is when it comes to that stuff.
Oh, play breakdowns are the worst.
Yeah.
Play breakdowns, especially in a zone concept. And Buffalo Bills run a ton of zone concept. They try to get there with 4.
Mm-hmm.
Is Juju, like, how sometimes, teams go into games and say, this is the guy that we can't, if they beat us with this guy, fine.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, is Juju the guy for Kansas City where the Bills went in there and said, hey, listen, we have to limit this guy. We have to limit this guy. We have to limit this guy. If this guy beat us, he beats us. Is Juju? You think Juju was that guy today? Where they're like, hey, if Juju beats us, Juju beats us.
I mean, Hardman and Sky Moore can both go 90. Juju's not going 90. Like every time Juju put together a nice reception, it's because he had to break a tackle to get there.
That pick play was so stupid, though.
I know that pick play's gonna bother you forever.
Oh God, call those plays, please.
I know. Well, hey, listen, if Gabe Davis can push Josh Allen for a first down, then you're gonna have to take a pick play every now and again. Remember, the rules are optional in the NFL. The rules are optional. That's why even Tony Romo's like, I don't think I've ever seen a player push his quarterback for a first down.
Oh my God, how many? I was always wondering how many women in Western New York are jealous of Gabe Davis being able to put their hands on Josh Allen's ass. Just wondering. We'll take a poll. Not that kind of poll, but we'll take a poll.
So bye week is coming up, Mar. What do we got going on for the bye week?
What do we got coming out for the bye? We have a bunch of episodes.
We literally have not talked about this at all.
No. But I know what they are. Paul forgets. That's why I have to remind him 75 times. And a lot of you guys know that I have to be the memory of #sports because here's why. Paul inherently really doesn't remember much. He remembers my birthday. Yep. He remembers his wife's anniversary because it's on the wall in their house.
That's true. Yep. I framed the invitation. Frame the invitation, guys. Yep.
I don't think he remembers social security numbers. He has those in a drawer somewhere. But the point is this. When we do episodes, I have to edit all of them, which means I get to hang out with Paul twice in one day. So I get to hear him and his stuff twice. So that's why I remember all this stuff to give it back to him.
Yep.
So, we're gonna have, if you guys hit the like button and you hit the subscribe button, more specifically hit the subscribe button in the community tab, we're actually going to put in our rapid fire segment. If there's anything that you want us to talk about during the bye week, we go through all of that stuff, guys. We'll either respond to it if it's not an episode, because sometimes there's a bunch of comments that kind of hinder toward the same topic. We'll go over that. We'll cut an episode on that. Mm-hmm. If not, we'll do a rapid fire of the remaining questions. And it's usually I call it rapid fire, but it's like a 25-minute episode of me and Paul just answering like 15 questions. And it's a lot of fun. So make sure that you do that. I'm going to put that in the community tab tonight for the rapid fire. So make sure you do that. We have a couple episodes that we want to, put out as well. I think one of them is I'm going to surprise Paul with it. It's going to be a fun episode.
I'm all right. That's okay.
It has something to do with the drought. That's all I'm going to say. It has something to do with the drought. But that's one of those timeless episodes that we could film. But, I mean, it's just, Paul, Josh Allen hurdled a man today.
Sure did.
Like, what is he human?
I think it was Steve Hampton that said the Bills are undefeated when Josh Allen hurdles somebody.
Well, I don't want to make that a thing.
Right.
He literally jumped over another human being. Like, you're not supposed to be able to do. And can we stop saying that he's 237? That guy's like 250. Stop it. If I stood next to Allen, I would look like Paul.
I admittedly remember when Mahomes was scrambling down by the goal line, right?
Yeah.
I was yelling things at him disparaging things because my quarterback wouldn't have been dancing around trying not to get hit. My quarterback would have just put his shoulder down and went and got himself in the damn end zone. That's what my quarterback would have done. So
Oh my God.
that's the way it was. I yelled a lot of things at the television today, Mario.
You did.
A lot.
You did. 237 plus 17. I love that. Great show. Are we done, Jess? Are you kicking us out 10 minutes early?
Well, it is probably time. It is probably time for the roast session, Mar. It's probably that time.
Let me get the clock out. I just want to mention once again, obviously tonight's show was sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes. Link or his brochure is in the description in association with DeanBlundell.com. Guys, we are on the bye week. The Buffalo Bills will return to play the Packers at home, and we're going to have some bye week shenanigans for you. Paul and I will be in the car this weekend for you guys, so buckle up for that kind of chaos. But as you know, if you've been here or you haven't been here, when the Buffalo Bills win, we roast. So we have the 3 minutes on the clock. You guys could roast me and Paul. Mostly it's me. I already see 9 and 7 in the comments.
Yeah, people get in on that one early. They get in on that one early.
They do get in on that one early. So I'm going to start the clock now. Paul, will you do the honors of reading them out for us?
Of course I will. And just real quick, because I see comments about it already. McDermott locker room speech. Wow, we haven't seen it. We've been here with you guys, so we'll catch up on that. We'll catch up on that. All right, let's see what we got here. Let's see. Ooh, how about a raffle of a free practice squad membership for the big dub? It's probably getting close to raffle time.
Absolutely.
Right? I'm sure
yes.
It's probably getting close to raffle time. We'll come up with something. Paul looks like an anorexic Fred Durst. He did it all for the nookie.
Oh my God. If you guys don't
were
think
you here
that
for my
Paul,
teenage years, Davis?
Paul looks exactly like Dorsey. I'm going to give him a pair of glasses this week and just prove it.
Mario does not have big hands. He just uses mini footballs. Mario has a football that he keeps in the back of his car, and he's overinflated it so many times that it is a circle. It is not football shaped anymore. It is. He pulled it out of the back seat, and he's like, "Hey, let's play catch." And I threw it, and the thing literally went and like.
Well, because we were trying to do the Allen to Gabe Davis throw. Remember the 37-yarder that went like 8 feet off the ground, and it skipped off the ground one of the times, and all of a sudden it just ballooned up after that.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Hey, whatever. Sure. Blame it on me for dropping it. Sure. Thanks. Due to Paul's shaky memory, he makes his kids have their names printed on their shirts.
That's a good one. I like it.
This isn't a burn, but it kind of is. 2 is trash. That's it.
Yes.
2
you hate trash. To see it. They're 3 and 3. You hate to see it.
You hate to see it. Paul looks like he's dressed for a role in a low-quality baseball film.
Paul got cut from Hardball.
Sure wasn't the Ringer. Mar in that hat is what I picture when things fries are done guy.
Oh
things
my
fries
God.
Are done.
Damn, that is going into the archives.
Yeah, that's a good one.
That is going into I love Rick's.
Let's see here. I'll get there. Cardinal Paul, your red cap makes you look like Bing Crosby. Mario looks like the Blues Brothers that got cut from the movie. That's an old school reference.
Couldn't be that I couldn't sing at all, though. That's the problem.
Yeah, though that would have nothing to do with it.
That
would have nothing to do with it. Let's see here. Mario dresses like a sex offender in public, trying not to be seen or identified. With that hat, try not to be identified in that hat.
I know. At 6'5", God, I stick out like a sore thumb. Oh, Jim Trips. I'm going to put this one on the screen.
All right.
I got to put this one.
Go ahead.
Joy Taylor thinks that Paul and Mario are not on Nick Wright's level.
Oh, God. Get out of here with that.
Oh, God. You know what, though? It sucks because we give them publicity in that.
I know.
And that's what they want, and it just sucks. But I couldn't let that one go where, like, Allen is not that dude. And you know what they're going to say? It's only a regular, like Paul said, they're only going to say, it's a regular season game. Hang the banner. Shut up. He went there twice out of the last 3 meetings and beat the Chiefs in their own house.
Right.
Stat? Here's the stat that I thought was absolutely amazing, guys, that was flashed during the broadcast, and I thought it was really good. Patrick Mahomes has only had 4 games where he threw 2 interceptions at home. 2 of them are against the Bills. I mean, what does that say about Leslie Frazier in this defense? You know what I mean? Are you laughing at the hat?
I'm laughing at the fact that the joke about ding fries are done is still rolling through the chat. Would you like an apple pie with that?
That is so bad.
Gosh. Yeah.
All right. So, ladies and gentlemen of Hashtag Nation 153, you thank you. And here, make sure you leave a like and a subscribe on your way out. You can find us on all of our socials, TikTok, Twitter, Instagram, and Facebook. All of our shows go to iTunes and Spotify. Tonight's show is sponsored by Mr. Rogers Homes in association with DeanBlundell.com. Enjoy your Bills victory Monday. We are out of here, guys.
Tony B. Paul looks like a guy that holds Mario's beer when the big moments happen. Are you calling me am I his sideline coach? Like the guy whose sole job is to pull Mario back, back onto the sideline? Is that my job?
No, you're not Sean McVay's guy. All right, guys, we're out of here.
Bills win.
So much. Victory Monday, here we come.
Hello, fellow Bills fans. Sean Rogers, realtor and lead of the Mr. Rogers Homes team. Did you know that real estate is one of the best ways to build wealth, and right now is one of the best times to own an investment property in Arizona? Please reach out to me. I'd be more than happy to answer any of your questions so we can take the next step to your financial freedom here in the Valley of the Sun, utilizing real estate. As always, God bless America, and go Buffalo!
Go Bills.
Go Bills.